Well, Jared, Apple says this is episode 4 of The Zone. Thanks for tuning in on this Thursday evening. I'm Jake Martino. Alongside me, my good friend, as always, Mr. Jared McCabe. Jared, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. Remember when I finished episode 3 saying that hopefully we'd have some big signings to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, we got that.
That was pretty spot on, if I could say. You hit
the big fish got off the market, and now we have
everything
stuff to talk about.
Everything's unfolded since
Dominos have fallen, and
just like you said, nothing was going to happen. Well, PG happened, but nothing major was going to happen until LeBron picked his team, and you were right.
Surprisingly did that. I thought it was going to take him 2 weeks, but
I thought it was going to take him a long time.
And 48 hours, and
so the big move, LeBron to the Lakers. Jared, the face of the NBA is changing, and it's changing rapidly. And the rivalry could possibly be back as the Lakers and the Celtics. And I personally love it. I love how LeBron's heading out to L.A. So the story is that Magic shows up to LeBron's door, 12:01 Eastern, 9:01 Pacific, and they have their meeting for, 3 hours?
I heard 3 hours.
3 hours. Just talking. And
because LeBron wanted the eye-to-eye to Magic. He wanted
and
eye contact.
And he didn't give anybody else a meeting, so that's what's kind of... I mean, he gave the Sixers a meeting, but...
He wasn't in the meeting, though. It was just him and
No, it was his agents.
Just his agents, basically.
The biggest thing we've heard is LeBron and Magic talking back and forth about it, which is pretty awesome, and it's a good move on Magic, and I think it...
Did you see the thing where, like, Rob Pelinka and all their guys, even Jeannie Buss was there, like, at Lakers headquarters, they had all their guys ready to start calling free agents, but Magic said, well, I'm in my car going to LeBron and Savannah's house, so I won't be there tonight, but clearly worked.
True. So he signs a 4-year?
I call it a 3-year deal because the 4th year is a player option for him. It's an opt-out. But I think he'll probably opt into that 4th year, so it's a 4-year, $154 million. Yeah.
So I like this move by LeBron. So he shows up. Magic shows up. They talk, and the word has it that it was between his 20-minute flight from his house to the airport in California. He's getting on the plane. He calls his agent. He says, "Call the Lakers. I want to play for the Lakers." I like LeBron to the Lakers, Jared. What are you thinking here?
First of all, I think it was no surprise. I don't think Philly was really an option because Simmons and LeBron are the same type of players. I think this decision was not based on... Well, it was based on basketball, but it wasn't like the Miami move and back to Cleveland mode where it was all on basketball. I felt this is for... He's a family guy, family first. This was a family decision. He has 2 houses out in L.A. He has LeBron James Jr. that's going to go for freshman year in high school. He wants to put him in the best situation. And his wife, Savannah, always wanted to live out in L.A. full-time. And I think it works for him and his brand because he's in the movie industry. He has all of his companies, industries, all of that out there. It's just a perfect match. And people can't really hate him for this move because there was really no perfect spot for him. But... he's going into a place where you're not guaranteed a championship in the first year. And I like that. I like that he's challenging himself. He sees all these youngsters on this team from top to bottom. He's the oldest. And I think he's put a lot of weight on his shoulders. But I like that. I like that there's just something about that Lakers brand that attracted him besides that. But it's just seeing the whole roster from top to bottom. I really like the move. I think... it wasn't a well-kept secret just because I think everyone knew he was bound there. It's just when. And to do it within 48 hours, which was shocking to me because I thought it was going to take him 2 weeks.
When it came through, I was like, he made his decision already? He must have been thinking about this one for a long time.
And if you're a team in the East, like the Celtics and the Sixers and the Raptors, you're jumping up and down. You're Danny Ainge, you're jumping up and down because now you run
if you're Danny Ainge, you're jumping up and down because Celtics could have the best franchise in the next 10 years.
You run the East for the next decade or so. And
which is the way it should be.
And all in all, I think it was bigger than basketball at this point. He's at the back nine of his career, even though he doesn't show it, because he's still the best basketball player to live on the planet. And he put all that into consideration, family first. And then when it came down to it, I like this young core. I think I can do a lot with this team. And it should be really fun, because when the Lakers are good, the NBA is successful, even though they're still successful now. But when the Lakers are good, and when the Knicks hopefully will be good sometime, and the Celtics are good, it's a great time to be an NBA fan, because he might not bring Showtime back.
Well, I think he will, because
let me throw
out a number for you. In the first, 72 hours of LeBron being in LA or signing with LA, the season ticket holders in Cleveland. So let's talk in the beginning. He leaves. The prices go down 60%. And now he goes to LA and they're up.
Skyrocketed.
Yeah, in LA they're skyrocketed. They go from 3,500 to up to 8,000.
Yeah.
That right there is people want to go see basketball now in LA because LeBron's there. I mean, you saw right when he got signed, everybody's outside throwing up the baby powder, impersonating him. I love it. I love the move. Now, people may think differently, which actually I like this move better than the Boogie Cousins move, which we'll get to that. But I like this move. I think I agree with you. It's a family move, and I like that.
And like when you look at this too, like how long is it going to take people like us, people within the industry, when they see the Lakers struggle in the first couple of games and they're sitting?
No,
6,
Lakers
7,
lose. Lakers lose
like
first game.
People
wow,
are going to be like, "Oh no, he can't do this." Like this is a complete different animal that you're going to. And
no one thought he was going to be able to do it with Cleveland. The minute Isaiah Thomas gets traded, I'm like, do they have a shot?
I think LeBron's goal this year is I think they're going to wait out the Kawhi situation. I think they're going to wait out,
which he doesn't want to play there.
I think they're going to wait out other situations, and I think they're going to keep it low this year. I think they will keep the youngsters unless somehow the standoff between the Lakers and the Spurs gets somewhere. But I think this is where you'll see all the youngsters play with LeBron this year. And when you play with LeBron, your game just gets better. And I think they'll be in play next year for a Klay Thompson, either a Kawhi or a Boogie Cousins, because what they're doing is, if you're noticing all their signings, it's all easy 1-year deals, and then it's just use the money now this year and then open up the spot.
McGee, they're all just racking up the 1-year deals.
So then it's like you're not locked in to like all these deals where you can't get help for LeBron. And LeBron knows that going in. Like with the meeting with Magic for probably that went on for 3+ hours. Here's our plan. What kind of players do you want surrounded you? And I heard things come out saying that he wanted nothing like Cavs team previous years. He wants younger kids that can run, and he wants to work on his post game in LA. He needs players that can be instant shooters for when he dishes it out. I think it's just a win-win situation. Maybe not for what the conference he's in, but for the team, I just think it was a perfect match.
So let's shift gears here, and we'll talk about the other side of this situation is what happened immediately once 12 o'clock struck, 12:01. We find out that Paul George resigns. That kicks off free agency, and it's kind of blown people's minds, but in the back of people's minds, some knew that he was going to go back.
How do you feel with the Lakers, though? He gets traded.
I don't think LeBron...
And they didn't even get a sit-down meeting with them. That just shows that OKC was...
And it's so funny because a year ago, Paul George comes out...
That was his A+ destination.
Paul George comes out and says, I want to be a L.A. Laker. Okay, it's July 5th, and he's not a Laker. He's still on the Thunder.
Which
I don't agree. Which I agree with. Like, okay.
You have to give credit where credit's due to Oklahoma City. Once they traded for him, they had a 12-month plan of how they're going to have to try to keep Paul George, and they did it. Once they got him, they knew his eyes were set on L.A. And Sam Presti and that organization knew what they had to do. And come on, Russ, really? Oh, I'm just going to throw a party at midnight.
That's all you got to do.
July 1st.
You
Which
get Naz.
I'm thinking, why
Naz
did they do that
comes
for
in.
KD? Why have him go out to the Hamptons? Maybe you should have thrown him a party. Maybe he would have stayed. But that's just a whole different debate. But I don't want to get into that just because. It was. I don't mind it. I really don't, because people hate on Russell Westbrook, a.k.a. Colin Cowherd. And
Yeah,
how,
people think he's not easy to play with,
to me,
a.k.a. every media agent.
And I kind of steal the words out of Colin Cowherd's mouth because I think the way he thinks. I'm all for player mobility, where they want to be, where they best want to be. I agree 100% with him, but I like the fact that Paul George saw the situation, said, Russ is my guy, we have unfinished business to do, let's go out and win a championship. I like that. I'm a guy that likes player mobility, but I like that. I like that he saw the situation. I could have gone not the easy way, but I could have gone teamed up with LeBron and maybe had a special year.
But see, it's not.
But I like the parity
it's not.
He wanted to stay in OKC.
But see, it's not necessarily the easy way out, because he thought he came out last year, and the quote was, it just came out that he wanted to be a Laker. He made it known to Indiana, I want to be a Laker now. But they decided to trade him to OKC. Paul George likes the move. He thinks that's a good move. And honestly, that could have been the easy way out, because Russ and PG, that's a good team up. But they just couldn't do it. And then they add Melo, and I'm like, wow, they really just tried to...
Which is now
they tried to... And let's talk about the Thunder for the second. They are locked up for the next 2 years. They can't do a single thing. So whatever they did,
unless somehow,
that meeting
some way they buy out Melo or they trade him away.
That meeting with Sam Presti and whatever they were trying to do, they wanted to be done for 2 years. Obviously, they wanted to max out Russ. They wanted to max out PG. And why you would give a max deal to Melo?
That was the Knicks, though. That wasn't the Thunder. Saw that opportunity train for PG last year and said, "All right, let's bring in Melo because we're all going to try to take down the Warriors." And Melo just went AWOL in the playoffs.
I just hope that the relationship between Paul George and Russ is now even tighter.
I think
because Russ thinks, "Oh my God, Paul George just chose me over LeBron James."
This is the other aspect now that you got to look at it. Just say you're Sixers, please, just God know the Celtics, but the Kawhi situation. Paul George, I said on LA, no matter what happened in OKC or not, and everyone's like, oh, he's destined for LA, no matter what. Same thing for Kawhi. If he gets into a winning situation over in Philly, or hopefully not Boston, because I don't want him in Boston, but just say he gets straight to the Sixers and they have a winning culture. Just say they go on to have a great season, possibly the finals appearance.
I don't think he goes.
He's not guaranteed LA with the Clippers or the Lakers. So that's the interesting aspect with Kawhi, is because if you're a team that really wants him and thinks that you can keep him, that Paul George situation just showed that you can keep a guy that has his eyes set on a different destination. Are Kawhi and Paul George two different people? Of course. Are they two different animals? Of course, because I think Kawhi is a different breed than Paul George. I still think Kawhi is a top 5 player over Paul George, but this story just keeps on getting uglier and uglier. Possibly you trade for him. I don't know if he's a guarantee to stay, but just seeing that Paul George stayed in OKC, there is a slim possibility that you could keep Kawhi somewhere. But
see, there's a shot.
He's just something else. I don't know.
There's still a
ugly.
shot. There's still a shot this year that Kawhi doesn't play, and now everyone's saying, "Oh my God, Kawhi doesn't play this year. His value goes down," and I completely agree with that.
Why would a basketball player sit out 2 years?
He already did that.
He was hurt but why would you sit out the?
Yeah, but now there's reports coming out saying that they were hiding him. Like, why should you have to hide a player?
Another report saying that the Spurs doctors went out to meet him in New York and they moved him. Like, do I really want that player on my team? I'm sorry.
No, they want him for his talent. They don't
like a diva to me.
That's an integrity move right there. I don't like it. I don't like that with Kawhi. That's
why I want the Celtics to stay away. I'd rather hold on to those draft picks. You got Tatum, you got Brown to play his position. They will be young guns that will be growing very fast in this league. And if you're a team like the Sixers or the Clippers, possibly the Lakers, if this stare-off stops somehow, you gotta do what the OKC did and come with a 12-month plan to how to keep them here, because if he has his eyes set on a different in LA, then you're screwed. But again, he's a top
Which
5
he already
player,
came out and he says, I want to play in LA, whether it's the Clippers or the Lakers.
Again, that's
Here
what
he
Paul
comes-
George said, so anything's
Exactly.
possible.
But again,
this
now,
is just a
but,
whole different situation.
True, very true.
Because just the way he's been, just again, we don't know if all of this is true or not, but to me, that just sounds like a diva to me that wants his way. If he's not getting his way, so he'll use his little inner circle to keep him away, and it's just. It's weird. It's just weird. There's no other way to put it.
Free agency is a weird thing. So now we know. We were talking about it on Monday. The dominoes are rolling. LeBron's in LA. PG is in OKC. And we both started talking about it, about these low-end guys. And this was even like 2 hours before it happened. And I said, Jared, what about Demarcus Cousins? What's going to happen with him? And Jared, I will give you so much credit on this because you're so right. He calls it. He says, Jake, I see Boogie getting a low-line deal, around $5 or $8 million, because he ruptured his Achilles. I don't know what team it is. I think the Lakers got a good shot. But then it comes through on my phone. I'm like, Jared, Boogie just signed. And it took Jared a minute to realize that it was the Warriors that signed him.
Yeah.
He got the money, 5.3 for 1 year, and he's not even going to play till December. Let's just talk about that later. But
January, February, or March.
Yeah.
Not even December's like too cute for that. That's a cute answer. It's definitely not December.
So the minute this happens, the NBA comes down. The
NBA, no, more like Twitter fingers, people. Like, they're
Where's
freaking out.
Where's the lockout? Who's playing there next? And then all the memes come out. Adam Silver signs a 1 year deal. Jesus Christ signs a 1 year deal with the Golden State Warriors.
And then there's those people that said tweets, "Oh, raise your hand if you're not gonna watch the NBA anymore." Da da da. That's a bunch of BS. People will watch
because they want to know what happens.
And this is what I tweeted out, and I stick to it, and it's the first thing that came to mind when I saw the signing. He tore his Achilles, so no one in the NBA is going to give him a max deal, and I'm seeing people on Twitter, he could have gotten a max deal, Bob.
Which New Orleans offered.
Who is going to offer a guy that's coming off an Achilles injury, that's one of the most toughest injuries, number one, and then number two is an ACL tear? How are you going to know that he's going to come back healthy to the player that he was? Number one, no team's going to offer you a max contract, so that's out the window. Number two, the Warriors called him up. Steph, Katie said, "Yo, we need a center. I think you should come along and play with us." Who's going to turn that down? I'm sorry. Who's going to turn that down? And people are freaking out because it's the Warriors. You know why? The Warriors organization, GM-wise, ownership, are all the way up to the top. I'm pointing my arm up to the ceiling. Then everyone else's teams are on the bottom. The Warriors are playing chess, and all the other teams are playing checkers. All the checkers guys are just trying to get you all the way up here. The Warriors, Bob Myers, GM, is just overthinking everyone else. And people are freaking out, "Oh, but now there's super team 5 all-stars and Bob in the starting lineup." That's because all the people playing checkers down here did not draft Curry. They overlooked Curry. They overlooked Clay. They overlooked Draymond. And people are freaking out because Katie joined the Warriors. I'm sorry. They drafted Curry, Clay, and Draymond. Everyone just didn't want them. Just overlooked them. Okay, so at that year when they were in the Hamptons, they had money to go out and get a free agent. And they had the money to go get KD. And they offered him that money, and every other team missed out. That's just them doing proper business. I'm sorry. And then you see DeMarcus Cousins out there saying, "We can offer you vets minimum $5.3 million to come play with us. You will not have to come back because we know that we have the right team to be successful and then get you ready for the playoffs and possibly last couple of games of the season. Why won't you take that opportunity? Showcase all 32 teams or how many teams are in the league to say, I'm back, this is a player that I can beat. Then you go get your max contract." I'm sorry. It's good business. It just is.
It is good business, but if you look at it, if you look at the Paul George situation, he's a high rated player, B+, A+ player. And he decides to stick with his team and not take the easy way out. He could have gotten a meeting with whoever he wanted. He's Paul George. Well, Boogie had the offer from New Orleans. Why wouldn't you consider signing back? New Orleans. No, he did. 2 years, $40 million. They offered it to him.
No way.
There's no way. They offered it to him at the end of the season.
At the end of the season.
And he denied.
Because he probably thought he'd get a better deal out there. But
no, this is after he gets hurt.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm just saying, people are freaking out when the Warriors are smart than all these other organizations out there that saw the opportunity. They had money. Let's go get Cousins. Like, I'm all for player mobility, and if that's where he thinks he can re-up his stock to get a max contract next year, I'm all for it. And people got to realize that these teams have the opportunity to, and if you can go and help a team out and win a championship, go ahead, go get that ring. Who cares? And it's guaranteed that he's not coming back next year, so people can calm down about that also, because they got Clay and KD to re-sign. I think their majority is to get Clay and KD re-upped, and then they won't have any money for Cousins. So,
well, they came out and they said, okay, 3 teams offered Boogie out of 32. New Orleans, the Warriors, and obviously the Lakers offered. He just chose the Warriors. Business move. I completely agree with that.
He did reject a 2-year, $40 million offer.
Yeah, but when was it?
The New York Times, Mark Stein reported Cousins turned down a 2-year, $40 million deal from New Orleans. The offer came during the 2007-8 after Cousins suffered a torn Achilles.
So now there's... So we talked New Orleans and we've talked Warriors. So the Lakers, with Boogie ending up there, Los Angeles turned down the chance to sign Boogie Cousins. Before agreeing to join Golden State Warriors, Demarcus Cousins gave the Lakers an opportunity to sign him. Mark Stein of the New York Times reported Tuesday that the All-Star Center presented the Lakers with a chance to add him at a salary similar to the $5.3 mid-level exception he received from Golden State, but they denied and went in a different direction. So the Lakers had the chance. He denied New Orleans. He didn't want to go to New Orleans. You're right. Business move.
And
they have the money. I don't...
And every team is trying to do the Warriors thing now. They always say, we're going to build around the draft. We're going to build up, grow these players into NBA players. That's what the Warriors did. And people are freaking out that they went to go sign KD and Demarcus. They did exactly what every team in the league wants to do. Draft great players, develop them, and go out and get top free agents. They're just doing their job, and people are freaking out because the best team, a historic team, just got another all-star. I'm sorry. It's just great business and taking the opportunity to jump on it when someone's out there that's coming off a really serious injury and get them at a really, really cheap price. And again, he could return to New Orleans for all we know next year after he plays with the Warriors, because he's not coming back. There's no way, because they got Clay and they got KD to re-sign. So their objective is to get those 2 guys signed, and then he'll probably jump ship otherwhere, maybe to LA, maybe to the Pelicans again. He's got options. So for me, it's a business move. It's for him to go get a ring, which he will contribute once he gets healthy, and then he can go get his max contract next year. Following the year after this one, to go get paid. And for me, if I was in that situation, I'd say, of course, I'll go sign with you guys. I'll go get a ring and I'll contribute. So I don't have a problem with it.
The flash of news with Jared McCabe.
Oh, that's right. You heard that noise. That's the news flash. So, talking about a lot of NBAs, but we'll keep it to the NBA with the news flash. So, right, a couple hours after LeBron James made it, the news broke that LeBron was signing in LA. A little thing came out with Lonzo Ball with how he tore his meniscus. And I questioned it because I feel like it's something that LaVar kind of leaked. So
Jake, do you think LaVar Ball leaked Lonzo's injury to prevent him from getting traded? Because we all know that
easily.
He's been considered, but the Spurs don't want him in a trade for Kawhi. But
first off, who would want him in a trade?
Well, I feel like there would be a team out there. But
okay, well, it's not who wants Lonzo, it's who wants LaVar. Let's put it that way.
Or Lonzo and the care package
in the family. Okay, so I think he easily could have did this because once they dropped that diss track mix and whatnot, Magic's like, dude, you're going to scare off LeBron. I mean, I would have done it too.
And Magic's up there now where he's like, I'm not for this. I don't like this. I think Magic is because I heard things where Kuzma wanted to make a diss track about Lonzo, and then Magic called and said, no, we're better than this. So I definitely think LaVar leaked it just because he wants his son to stay there, and after he says championships, which I don't think they'll get one in their first year, but I think we both can agree that we think he kind of did something with that with the Lonzo injury. I'm a Celtics fan. I'm a proud Celtics fan. I'm a big Kyrie fan, but now I'm starting to kind of question if he'll be here long term. We all know that Kyrie and Jimmy Butler have had a great relationship stemming back all the way to their time on Team USA basketball. They always like to sit on the plane together, play jokes, and they're great friends. And now there's been rumors going around that Jimmy Butler doesn't like the work ethic of Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota. And he's a free agent next year, and so is Kyrie. And Kyrie's from New Jersey. And now there's rumors that they want to team up and possibly play for the Knicks or Brooklyn. Jake, do you see that happening next year? And if so, would that be kind of cool to see?
I think it happens, but I'm not 100% sure about where Kyrie's going to end up. Because we were talking about it before. If the Celtics make a deep championship run, I don't see him leaving. I don't see him leaving a winning culture for the worst franchise in the NBA. Worst run franchise in the NBA. I don't see him doing it. Now, Butler, if he was smart, he would ask for a trade right now and get out of here. I don't know what team would take his contract. And then it's it's the same situation as everyone else. He's got the contract, and next year he's a free agent. If they were smart, they would trade Jimmy Butler right now. Why would you make him go through a season like this? First off, who would want to play in Minnesota? I mean, they got some good players. But now you have an all-time veteran saying that he doesn't want to play there. Wouldn't that be your line to draw right there? Wouldn't you just be like, nope, not doing that. We're not doing that. So I think it could happen. It very well could happen. And I would like to see it happen.
I just hope I love Kyrie a lot. I really do. You got to realize if you didn't want to play with the best player in the world, LeBron James, he has his perfect opportunity right in front of him with this really great organization that has great players and great picks. And you could be great for the next 10 years. And you want to go to a dumpster fire like the Knicks? I understand you want to be the team.
But with Jimmy Butler, does that even out? Does the dumpster fire...
If you're a Knicks fan, you're jumping up and down. You haven't had a big free agent come in there since...
Melo.
Since Clyde Frazier back in the day. Those type of years. Like I said earlier, when the Lakers, Celtics, and Knicks are good, the NBA is through the roof.
And there's always going to be the Warriors now.
To me, if you're Kyrie... Think about it because you're not guaranteed any winning in New York, even if you have Jimmy Butler. And you have this perfect opportunity right in front of you with a great team, great organization that has picks and great young talent. So it's just something you got to think about. Understand you're from New Jersey and you want to bring the Knicks back to relevancy, but it's not an easy thing. It's just not. That was the newsflash here on The Zone.
We got a great episode in store today. We're already talking NBA free agency.
Did I hear rumors that Caleb's coming back?
I
it's like
did
he can't
hear
get enough.
I did hear a rumor that our good friend Caleb Aschenbrenner may be joining the show today. But his first topic is not the New York Yankees. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Little leadway into his little.
Also, our good friend Camdyn Ames joins the show to talk about the Red Sox, and our also very good friend, Mr. Caden Blint, will join the show to talk NHL hockey. It's The Zone, Episode 4. We'll be right back right after this.
This is Jared McCabe, and you are listening to The Zone, a part of the Upstate Sports Zone Network, free for download on iTunes. Now back to the show.
Episode 4 of The Zone. Jared, you got to be pretty excited.
Caleb's back. Like I said, he can't seem to get away. He loves it. We love that he comes on to talk to us. Very excited.
So we got a good friend calling in. Is our good friend Kaleb Aschenbrenner. But like we said earlier, leading up to this, our first topic is not about the New York Yankees. It is about our good friend Demarcus Cousin. So, Kaleb, thanks for calling in. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
We're doing pretty good. Do you enjoy your 4th of July?
I did. Yeah, I had a good one. What you guys have a good day?
Yeah, it was great. I won't say what.
Jared's not going to say.
There's nothing better than watching Yankees baseball on the 4th of July. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah.
Good point. All right, so we know that LeBron signing with the Lakers started the dominoes.
The domino effect.
Yeah, the domino effect. He took the words right out of my mouth, and which led to. Well, Paul George really started it, but LeBron doing it led to other factors, and it's led to lots of other rumors. And we were almost 48 hours into the free agency spectrum, and I was with Jared, and I asked him. I said, Jared, DeMarcus Cousins, where is he ending up? He mentions the money situation. He mentions everything, and he had everything right on the money. The only thing he didn't have was the team. So, Kaleb, DeMarcus Cousins, I've seen some tweets from you. I've seen some tweets from a lot of people, and it seems that emotions are flying all over the place. So, DeMarcus Cousins is heading to Golden State. What are you thinking?
It definitely took me by surprise. I think it took everyone by surprise. I don't think anyone considered Golden State to even be a front runner for him. From what he claims, he says he didn't have any other offers on the table from any other team, but I kind of find that somewhat hard to believe. With the kind of center he is, I just don't think he was getting the offers he wanted. I think he wanted a max contract offer, and no team's going to offer that to him only because of his Achilles injury he suffered last season. He's doing what he thinks is best for his career, and in terms, I get it as a business move, but I think it's a cheap move in general. The fact the Warriors felt like they needed to add him was just, you can't really blame them. You want the best team you can put on the court. But the team has won the NBA Finals, back-to-back years now, 3 out of the last 4. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's an actual dynasty. I'm actually more interested to see how they're going to handle him next season when he's a free agent, if he comes back or if he goes after a different team. I just don't like the move in general. I never have liked the whole running around trying to buy a ring kind of situation, especially with the superstars like Kevin Durant and now DeMarcus Cousins. I just think it's a cheap way out, honestly. You can't really fault him. It's an easy ring. It's guaranteed now that no one's going to be able to stop them unless, of course, they get plagued with injuries. But I did not like the move at all. I thought, like I said, easy way out, and I was real fed up when I heard about it. If the NBA hears about that, I'm not watching basketball this year. I think they're going to have to change the league up around.
So, I want to just follow up with this question. This is how I look at it. You might not agree with me, but to me, I just think that it's a perfect business move to the Warriors. They're all the way at the top of the league with their GM Bob Myers and their organization, and then everyone's on the bottom. The Warriors are playing chess, and every other team's playing checkers, trying to catch up to the Warriors. Every team wanted to do what the Warriors did: draft great players, hoping that they'll be star players, which they did. Curry, Clay, and Draymond. They had the money the year to go get KD. They got KD because they had the money. And then now they had extra money to go out and get DeMarcus Cousins because we all know that he wasn't going to get a max deal. And honestly, I think Cousins going to the Warriors is perfect for him just because he can come back late February, early March to prove to teams that he's healthy, that he can play. And it's basically a tryout for all the other teams, so then he could hopefully get that max contract. I just think it's a perfect thing because everyone's freaking out that the Warriors got these 2 great generational talents, but they're doing what every other team wanted to do: draft great young players. Hopefully they come out to be stars and then get the top free agents that are on the board. So I really don't have a problem with it. So Would you kind of agree that it's good for Cousins because he's going to the best team and he can basically show to teams in late February, early March that I'm healthy and I can contribute to a team that wants me and he can get that max contract?
Oh, man, I don't know. I mean, you look at how star-studded their lineup is now. I mean, he won't even be a thought in the team's minds. Like, you got to think about Curry, and then you got to think about how dangerous Klay Thompson is off the wing and off the dribble and just spot-up shooting in general. And then you got Kevin Durant. So, I mean, if you look at it realistically, he's probably like the third or fourth option. So I don't think he's going to get as many touches, especially with how heavy they shoot the three-point. I know he's been working on his three-game. I personally, if I was him, I would have gone back to the Pelicans. I know they offered him a 2-year, like $40 to $50 million contract, but then he didn't take that. And then he decided to sign with Golden State for 1 year, $5 million. I mean, I saw some stats. I saw some numbers that had Doug McDermott making more money than him this year, which is just absurd. McDermott's a good player, but he's nowhere near the caliber player that Demarcus Cousins is. And I just don't know. He won't be putting up very good numbers, I don't think, mainly because it's such a team that is so star-studded that he won't even be considered really a scoring option.
And just to wrap up this Cousins thing, I don't even think he's coming back next year anyway, no matter what, because they have Klay and they have KD to worry about next year on the free agent market. And clearly they're above their plans in Demarcus Cousins. So I think all in all, it was just a perfect match, and he's not coming back next year.
At the same time, I can agree and disagree because I think a lot of teams. Well, the stat was 29 out of 32 teams offered Demarcus Cousins. I think it was a risk. He's a risk in some parts in some parts of the game. He's a risk. Not first is injury. Let's talk about his emotion on the court. His emotion towards teammates. His emotions towards referees. His emotions towards fans. His emotions towards other people. I just think it was a risk, and I think. But here's where I agree. I think the Warriors are a good standoff point for Demarcus Cousins because now he can take a different approach. He's not the star.
And he could possibly come off the bench with Steve Kerr because they're going to gradually move him in. And will he accept that role? That's the question.
And the thing with this is they're not necessarily going to be a championship or a bust. I mean, I would say most people expect them to be, but it'll be interesting because he has to take a different role. And he's coming back from injury. He's the smallest contract, which I really don't think that should matter, but it's going to play into a big factor. And he's coming into a winning culture where winning has to happen. And
well, I mean, the Pelicans were winning too last year. I mean, you could even argue that he wasn't even the best player on his team last year. You have Anthony Davis, who I think arguably most teams would take Anthony Davis over DeMarcus Cousins every day of the week.
Oh yeah, easily.
Okay, so I like this. I think we could talk about this for a while going forward. But we'll move into some Yankees talk because I mean that's you're our guy for our Yankees talk, Caleb. And everybody's favorite, Gleyber, I don't even know how to say it. Gleyber Torres, I don't even know how to say it. I'm an Angels fan. You gotta give me some slack. He heads to the DL. Does this raise any concerns for you? This was only a precautionary thing Aaron Boone said today.
My only concern before Caleb gives his opinion is apparently he's had this for like multiple times, and for a kid that's young, it's just a tad bit concerning. But I'm just curious to see what Caleb has to say.
No, I definitely agree with you, Jared. That was my main concern. It's been an injury that's been plaguing him for a while. I mean, I feel like I've read multiple reports from multiple teams or multiple reporters that follow the Yankees that say Gleyber's had a hip injury, like his hip is sore and all this kind of stuff. He feels better, then it's sore again, and then it's better. So, I mean, that definitely is a concern, but I don't think it's anything too bad. I mean, obviously these injuries can turn into something a lot worse. I don't think his time on the DL will be very long. I think 10 days probably, and then he comes back unless they play it really, really, like, cautiously. I don't think there's any need, like, cause for concern. I mean, obviously, like I said, the main thing would be the fact that this injury has plagued him most of this year. But I think overall he will be back probably before Gary Sanchez, I would say. And I think he also have a big impact on this team.
So it was a very successful weekend for the Yankees, taking 2 out of 3 against the Boston Red Sox. So this is kind of a 3-part question. Friday night, CeCe was fantastic. You got to agree that he's one of the best pitchers that the Yankees have ever had just because of what he does after a Yankees loss. He's just been fantastic for his age. Saturday against Chris Sale, Sonny Gray, you predicted that. Got to give you props. Sonny Gray was just awful. But I just want to know for question B, did you gain any respect for Sonny Gray the way he stood at his locker and basically said, we have great days 1 through 4, but then when I get there, we were just always so bad, and I take the blame for that. So I just wanted to see if you gained any respect for Sonny Gray on Saturday night. And then Sunday, can David Price pitch every single day because the Yankees teed off on him, basically was batting practice?
Yeah, I don't want to float my own boat, but I went 3 for 3 on those predictions, so I'm pretty proud of myself. But no, David Price, I mean, I feel like we always have hit him since he's been with the Red Sox. That was just an amazing game overall. I was so happy to see that they came out and swung the bats really well. And Severino had a good game as well. As far as Sonny Gray, I wasn't surprised at all by that outing. I knew, with Boston being the team that they are hitting-wise and with the game being at Yankee Stadium, I just didn't trust him. As far as his post-game interview, I definitely did gain respect because he's going out there and he's saying, listen, like, these guys play great baseball every day that I'm not on the mound, and then I get out there and I do that kind of stuff. He's kind of taking the blame for his performances, and I think it's a good thing to an extent. At the same time, I don't really know. In all honesty, I definitely have the respect for Sonny Gray just because of the fact that he came out and he tried to put the blame on himself. I do think he's a good pitcher. I just don't think he is the type of pitcher that can pitch at Yankee Stadium. Like I said before, I think they need to get him out of there. Even some sort of solution. I think I came up with the solution of kind of pitching him just on road games and then maybe at home games going with a bullpen day or something of that sort. Because they did end up calling or bringing Jonathan Lasagna down. Johnny Lasagna got sent back down. Yeah, no, Lasagna. They sent him back down to the minors, which is, I think, a very questionable move because even you could put him in the bullpen as a long relief pitcher. But now I think you can bring him back up. I think you can make him a very good option to pitch at home. But, at the end of the day, it's really just about what the upper Yankee management think.
All right, so I see.
There was 3 questions right there. I got 2 done. I can't remember the first one.
CC just brings consistency every single. It's like he's going to be 38 in a couple of months, and he's pitching like an ace. He's a stopper after the team loses. Just your thoughts on CC because he's been such a great pitcher ever since he won us a championship. Him and A-Rod in 2009.
That man has grown so much in my heart. You see where he came from a couple of years ago. He wasn't a good pitcher. He was going through alcohol addiction. He had to go to rehab. His knee is just all like giving out. You see what he's been through and what he's battled through in his life and the game of baseball. And just to see him having this year, and even last year. I mean, last year, I don't think he lost a single game after I think the stat was like he was 11 or 12-0 every single game he pitched after the Yankees lost. And that included the postseason. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. His stuff has been good. You can kind of see him get gassed in the last game that he just pitched. He got up to 100 pitches. I was very surprised to see, Boone have that long leash with him. But he got up to 100 pitches, started getting rocked kind of hard, but he still got out of there. I think he's a great leader. He brings that fiery attitude to the game, and I mean, you could just genuinely see he gets fired up. And I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling to even be able to watch him. It's just fantastic. I definitely want the main reason I want them to win the World Series this year is for CC to go on top because he did come out. He did say that if they do end up winning it all this year, he's going to call it a career. I think that should be a great way to send him out. A guy like that who's been with this team for as long as he has.
All right, so I've seen that you've been taking some emotional standpoints on first baseman Greg Bird. When's he going to get his shit together, honestly? Because
no, that's a great question.
Because honestly, we all have no idea. So you seem to have a good take on it. So I want to hear what you're.
And can't forget about Neil Walker.
Yeah,
either.
Neil Walker getting DFA.
First of all, yeah, we got a DFA Walker. I mean, I think he pinch hit for Torres. Yeah, he came in for Torres on the 4th when they played. And the one at bat I watched him, he just struck out on like 4 pitches. I was like, why is this guy on the roster right now? It was horrible. It was like, I think he struck out on a fastball over the plate too. Like he swung and he just swung underneath it. But I mean, he is not turning out. I mean, he's the Chris Carter of this year's team, I would say. I definitely think they need to get rid of him and make a roster spot for someone else. I mean, I saw they just called Tyler Wade back up for Torres. but I think Neil Walker doesn't really belong there anymore. I mean, they got Brandon Drury, who can play all over the infield now. He can play third, second, first, basically all the positions Neil Walker could play. So I'm very concerned with why he's still on the roster to begin with. As far as Greg Bird, I'd like to try to stay patient with him because he is working his way back slowly but surely. But I mean, his numbers just haven't gone anywhere they should be going. But you saw the kind of potential he had. He showed that in the postseason last year with all his clutch hits and home runs. And there's definitely a load of potential in him. It's just a matter of them getting his swing down. As far as how long of a leash he has, I think they're going to give him a pretty decent leash. I think they're going to want to work Brandon Drury more at first base, get him some more reps there until they're comfortable with him probably being the everyday first baseman. Even Tyler Austin bringing him back up. But I think right now he's got to get some more games out of Greg Bird. I think he just surpassed 100 plate appearances maybe this year. So I think we need to be patient with him. I mean, we did the same thing with Stanton, and we've seen where he's gone this year. I mean, his average is up to 270, close to 270, 22 home runs, and 60-plus RBIs maybe. I don't even know. But he's definitely bounced back, and we just got to learn to be a little patient with these guys.
Definitely, just because I'm a Yankee fan as well. Just Greg Bird has the potential. Just need to get him his swing back. And maybe for Neil Walker, maybe getting everyday playing time. Maybe, just maybe might help him get back on track. And finally, Luis Severino has been fantastic. He's lined up to actually maybe pitch the All-Star game. I don't know if I really want him to. I'd rather him just rest up and get ready for the second half. But, again, it's a great moment if you could pitch the starter as the American League for the All-Star game. But where would you rank him, Kaleb, without any bias, without any your Yankee love? Where would you rank him amongst the top starting pitchers in the game today?
I mean, he's definitely, I would say, this year, top 5 easily, probably top 3. I don't think there's any question that he's right now the Cy Young Award nominee, like the top nominee right now.
He finished 3rd last year, so.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy to think that just 2 years ago, the kid was moved to the bullpen because he wasn't pitching well. I mean, he's going to be in the All-Star game. He's probably going to end up being the starting pitcher in the All-Star game. It's great to see him come this far. I mean, he's definitely worked hard. He's worked with Pedro Martinez in the offseason. He's a great pitcher. I mean, you can tell how much he cares about the game, how much he gets fired up. As far as where he ranks in the game, I definitely top 5. It's tough. Everyone's going to have a different list. I mean, you got guys like Kershaw. You got guys like Madison Bumgarner. You got Chris Sale. You got so many different options you can go to even consider a top 5 list. There's a lot of great pitchers in this league, but I definitely think Severino is top 5, and if not top 3. And you can honestly have the debate of having him at the number 1 spot. I mean, he's been that good, that consistent this year. He's got the most starts with 1 run earned or fewer since sometime last year. I mean, he's been unbelievable. I definitely think that right now, if he stays on the pace he is, it's going to be a great year to watch. I mean, 15-2 right now. He's got a sub-2 ERA. It's incredible to watch, and I'm glad the Yankees got him, and they were patient with him. And now to see him develop into this, it's scary to think about what the future holds for him because he's still a young pitcher. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see, and I know they just drafted his brother too. So if his brother, has the same work ethic as him, it could be fun to watch both of them come out and pitch for the Yankees one day.
All right, Kaleb, we really, really, really appreciate you calling in tonight. Let's hope the Yankees can keep this going.
Yeah, fingers crossed right now.
Yeah, fingers crossed with Torres, too. We're hoping that
for sure.
This isn't a big concern. It shouldn't be, but let's hope the Yankees stay on track, and let's pray to God that the Red Sox keep losing. So thanks for calling in, Kaleb.
Amen to that.
Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Kaleb.
So that was Kaleb. Caleb's the greatest guy ever. I love Kaleb so much. He did bring up some good points, and I think Severino's on track for a really, really good season.
And like you said, he's young, and he's got future, and it's just going to get brighter and brighter. So,
this is episode 4 of The Zone. We'll be right back right after this.
This is Jared McCabe, and you are listening to The Zone, a part of the Upstate Sports Network, free for download on iTunes. Now back to the show.
This is episode 4 of The Zone. We are back. I'm Jake Martino, alongside me, my good friend, Jared McCabe, and the MLB is a little bit boring this year. Could you agree, Jared?
Outside the top 3 teams, Red Sox, Yankees, Astros, after that, it's a huge question mark.
Completely agree. And on the line, we got our good friend, Mr. Camdyn Ames, who's talking one of those 3 teams today, the Boston Red Sox. Cam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing pretty great. How was your 4th of July? I'm sure it was pretty great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Got to watch the hot dog eating contest. It's always eventful.
We thank you for calling in today. So we're going to talk a little Red Sox baseball with you. It's been a historic season so far for Mookie Betts. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, so far this year he's hitting .338 with 42 RBIs and 21 home runs. I'd say it's probably safe to say that this is one of the best years. I mean, at least home run wise. You look, he's got 21. We're not even halfway through the year. Last year he had 24, so he's already on pace to pass his last year total. And in 2016 he had 31, which is his career best in a season. So he's likely to pass that total of career home runs in a season. So obviously that's a big factor. Like I said, 42 RBIs is career best in RBIs was 2016 with 113. So he's also on pace to pass that and set a new record for himself. But I mean, yeah, like 2016, he was runner-up MVP behind Mike Trout. I honestly think this year could be another year where he's in the MVP race. I mean, you look at league leader, he's up there with everybody. Like I said, really, he's just like setting own personal records in home runs and RBIs. That's a big thing. And like I said, 2016, he was right up there for MVP. So honestly, if he could do better than 2016, where he was runner-up in the MVP race, then I think he could win it this year. I mean, if you look at hitting totals, batting average, he's leading the AL right now, or he's leading the MLB right now at .338. Home runs, he's tied for 8th with Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, and Carlos Stanton with 21. I mean, he's just having a heck of a year this year so far. We're not even halfway through the year.
So, as you know, as many of you know, I am a Angels fan, and Mike Trout is also on track to have a stellar season too. Let me ask you, the Red Sox are in a better position to move on in the playoffs, and the Angels are struggling to find their way to keep up above 500. Do you think, with the pace of the Red Sox play, do you think that keeps Mookie's season, like his motivation, up going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's with any player. You have a good team. Like right now, Red Sox are 1 game up in the AL East, and they're on track to be a playoff team like in seasons past. Obviously, that's going to affect the way the player is playing. I think especially Mookie's a very passionate player, and he wants to win all the time. So I think he'll definitely try a lot harder. And, you know, with Mike Trout, like I said, we saw it in 2016. The Angels didn't make the playoffs that year. The Red Sox did, and Trout still won the MVP. So, I mean, he could, you know, he's another one of those guys, he just keeps working, you know. It doesn't matter if they're winning or losing. He's still going to go out there and give it his all. You know, it's just a matter of the guys around him, and Mookie has a lot of guys around him. You know, they just acquired J.D. Martinez, the league leader in home runs so far this year. As for the Angels, you know, they had Shohei Ohtani that they picked up in the offseason, was a big move, but an injury, he won't be pitching for a while, so maybe if he could get the bat going and
maybe Pujols and some other guys can get their bats going. Maybe they can climb up that AL West ladder and eventually maybe dethrone Houston from that spot. But honestly, at this point in the season, they're 12.5 games out. It's going to be a really big push for the Angels.
So we know that the Yankees and Red Sox just played in the Bronx last weekend, and the Yankees taking 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox. And these are crucial games because we know that these two teams will, sadly, one of them will have to play in for a wild card. And on Sunday, we're going to talk about Sunday night because David Price just cannot seem to pitch against the Yankees anywhere at Fenway or at Yankee Stadium. And we've all known his history past in the postseason. And you're going to need David Price to pitch well in the postseason if you want to make a deep run. So I just have to ask, since it's going to be a dead race till the finish between the Yankees and the Red Sox, these are crucial games to get separation from each other. So I have to ask, are you concerned about David Price's ineffectiveness to beat the Yankees when he pitches against them, just because these are crucial games?
I mean, yeah, you've seen this season. We go back to April. He's gotten 2 starts against the Yankees this year. We go back to April 11th, his first start. He only pitched 1 inning, gave up 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 home run, walked 2 batters, and only struck out 1. That's obviously a shaky, not a good start, only going 1 inning. And then the other day was Sunday, July 1st. He got the loss on the mound there, went 3 1/3 innings, giving up 9 hits, 8 earned runs, 5 home runs, and only striking out 3 batters. He didn't walk any, but still 8 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings. Not good. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I'm not concerned with David Price against the Yankees, being that the Yankees are probably the biggest contender in the AL with the Red Sox. I think those are the top 2 teams in the AL. So obviously they're a big contender with the Red Sox in their path to get to the World Series. And honestly, I don't know if I'm Alex Cora, I don't know if I'd start Price against the Yankees. Chris Sale had a great start against them the other day. But honestly, maybe I'd throw a guy like Eduardo Rodriguez. He's had a couple shaky starts, but he just got back on track today against the Nationals. He threw 3 hits. He only gave up 3 hits. But other than that, Rick Porcello, you could throw against the Yankees. But honestly, I don't know if I'd throw Price against the Yankees. In the postseason, Price has been good. Maybe he does. Maybe he is better against the Yankees in the postseason. But I don't know. In the postseason, like you said, Jared, those games are crucial. I don't know if we test that out in the postseason, where in a game 2, down 0-1 in the series, and you throw David Price and you lose, now you're down 0-2. Or even if you're up 1-0 in the series and you throw David Price in game 2, and now you're tied 1-1 against the Yankees. Momentum is everything in the MLB playoffs. And I think if you give the Yankees any little bit of that, you saw it last year, if you give the Yankees a little bit of momentum, they're just going to take it, and they're just going to keep on winning.
All right, so we know that the Red Sox are on track to inevitably make the playoffs. With the trade deadline approaching, what additions do you see the front office needing to make for a good stretch run?
I mean, to begin the year, the offense was looking really good. They hit a little bump in the road recently, but now I'd say they got back on track the other day, against the Yankees. And this series, they just swept the Nationals. That was big for them because, Nationals are viewed as a very good team. And, even though they haven't been that good this year, it's always good to sweep an opponent no matter who it is. Honestly, you could add a second baseman or to replace Eduardo Nunez. Pedroia's been on the DL this year. He hasn't got much playing time. He's only played in 3 games. For Nunez, he's only batting .257 this year. only has 6 home runs, 22 RBIs. And, he wasn't known as a home run guy, but still 257 average for a contact guy. Isn't that great? And last year, he really, I'd say he made himself, he brought in big expectations this year after performing so well once the Red Sox acquired him at the trade deadline last year from the San Francisco Giants. He played really well in the second half of the year. He hit the ball really well at Fenway. And I really think those expectations carried into this season, and he didn't really live up to the hype that Red Sox fans thought he was this year. So, honestly, I think if the Red Sox just add another bat like that, like an Eduardo Nunez that they got last year, in the second half of the season, they could be very successful. Like just another utility guy, just say there's an injury or just the guy needs a day off, you can stick him out in the infield or have maybe an outfielder that can hit the ball. But another thing that the Red Sox have been looking for in past season, more relievers. Honestly, this year, their bullpen hasn't been awful. Probably in past seasons, it's been pretty bad. But I'd say Joe Kelly, is one of the better pitchers in the bullpen. This year in 36 innings, in 36 and the third innings, he struck out 38 batters. He's got a 3.47 ERA, which isn't great, but it's also not awful. I honestly think a setup man for Craig Kimbrell would be probably top of the list. I know according to MLB trade rumors, they've been looking at relievers from the Miami Marlins, Kyle Barraclough, Drew Steckenrider, and Adam Conley. I think, honestly, any of those 3 guys, I know they're not the most popular guys, but excuse me, but I think they could get the job done. There's guys that, like a Brad Ziegler a couple of years ago, where no one really expected a lot out of him, and then he just came in here and he dominated and he did good. I honestly think any of those 3 guys would be a good addition, just to stick in the 8th inning or even the 7th inning in front of Craig Kimbrell to help him out a little bit. The Red Sox were also looking at Tampa Bay pitcher Nathan Eovaldi. To be honest, I'm not too keen on Eovaldi. This year's 2-3 with a 3.92 ERA in 7 games. In 41 innings, he struck out 35 batters. He's got a 0.92 whip. Honestly, Eovaldi's more of a starter-ish, but he can also come out of the bullpen. I don't know how I feel about Eovaldi. Obviously, his stat line isn't too good, 3.92 ERA for a starter. I started this year with the Rays, obviously, and with the Red Sox, he come out of the bullpen. But still, I'm not sure how I'd feel about them. I'd honestly feel better with Kyle Barraclough or Steckenrider or even Adam Conley. All those guys have been seen to be doing pretty well this year with the Marlins. You look at Conley, he's got a 1.42 ERA in 19 games. Barraclough's got a 1.17 ERA in 39 games, which is pretty good for a guy who's not so looked at. So I mean, I'd say a relief pitcher, but at the same time, if they can acquire a utility guy that can hit, that'd be good as well.
So the Red Sox just finished up a 2-game series with the Nationals. You saw the game. You saw how the Red Sox swept them. But my question is, what's going on with the Washington Nationals? Everyone thought they'd be the winner of this division very easily. And they're 1 game under 500. They were down 9-0 to the Marlins early on in the 3rd inning at home tonight, but then they have made the comeback. But they're 7 games out of first place to the Atlanta Braves. So just what do you think, in your opinion, what's going wrong with the Nationals here?
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say nobody really expected the Braves and the Phillies, as young as they are, to be this good this year. Like the Braves are first in the East. They have a lot of young guys, Dansby Swanson, Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, And the Phillies have those young guys too. I mean, Maikel Franco, got Jake Arrieta that they just acquired, Adubo Herrera, Nick Williams, Reese Hoskins. They're honestly, I don't think they should have been that overlooked this year coming into the season with a roster like that. I mean, yes, they have a lot of young guys, and you don't know what to expect. But this year they've proved that those young guys are living up to the hype. And like you said, the Nationals, like they didn't expect the Braves or the Phillies to be this good either. And I think that's just it. They're that good. But at the same time, you know, the Nationals are now 42 and 43. It's the latest in the season. They've been below 500 since 2015. I'd say that's a little scary if I was the Nationals, considering Bryce Harper going to be agent. He's definitely not in that situation. Being to Brett effort to open up that team to realize that, you know, he's just not out there. So getting those, but you know, Harper's too. He's only hitting .215 right now this year. He does have 21 home runs and 50 RBIs, but that .215, that's a tough hit. But yeah, I just say the Nationals, they're just hitting a bump in the road. You know, they were a good team in May. June was really not their month, really not their month. And now it's July. If they can get back on track, I think they can make a run at the title, the National League East title. But at this point in the season, it's tough to say that they can. With looking at the standings right now, almost at the All-Star break, with the Braves and the Phillies looking so good.
All right, Cam. We appreciate you calling in tonight, talking about the Red Sox. More to come here on the Zone. Caden Balint joins us on episode 4 coming up next. Cam, have a good night, buddy.
Hey, you too.
Thanks for coming on, Cam.
Yeah, no problem. Have a nice night, guys.
You too. I missed Cam so much.
A lot of insight. I got a lot of insight.
Yeah, he provides a good insight, and honestly, I missed Cam so much.
You know what? We haven't heard from him in a while. I'm just going to be honest with you. We just haven't seen him or heard from him in a while. So it's nice to hear from him, give him his insight on the Boston Red Sox and around the MLB. So it was a good interview. But we got two other great guests coming on next. So
it was a good change-up because we've been talking a lot of NBA, and it felt good to talk about some baseball.
And then we're even going to turn another 360 and talk about NHL. I'm so excited.
Coming up next, we got Caden Balint on the show. This is episode 4 of The Zone. We'll be right back after this.
This is Jared McCabe, and you're listening to The Zone, a part of the Upstate Sports Network. Free for download on iTunes.
So we're back here on The Zone, episode 4. Honestly, I love talking hockey, and there's no other person I'd rather talk to hockey with than our good friend Caden Balint. He's from the Upstate Sports Zone Network. Jake, Caden's on the line. Very excited. Caden, Jake, and Jared here. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, Jared.
So, hockey, bro. July 1st was free agency. Felt like the Tavares watch was going on for hours.
Not even hours, but days.
Well,
you
true.
think about it.
True. But we all basically knew that if he didn't sign at midnight Eastern time or 9 o'clock when he was out in California, Pacific time, that he had the offer on the table, 8 years, $15 million from the Islanders. We all knew if he did not sign that means that he was not going to come back to Brooklyn, just because that's the only team that could offer him a max contract. So we were waiting and waiting. He finally made his decision that he's going to join his hometown team, Toronto Maple Leafs, this upcoming season. So it's a 7 year, $77 million, $11 million annually. So your thoughts on Tavares going home, and if you think they'll be an easy cup contender.
Well, I do remember you talking to me about this the day they signed, and you said to me, what would you rather have? I remember you asking me this. You said, if you choose, you can take a Stamkos or a Tavares. I said I'd take Tavares easily. My reasons behind this are, with looking at Stamkos, they're both in their prime. Looking at Stamkos, he had some injury problems, and that's kind of like a red flag in a sense. So looking at that and looking at Tavares is a great player, easily a 30-goal scorer every season. Best player. He was definitely the best player on the Islanders for every year he was there for the past 9 years. And whenever the Rangers played him, I was kind of terrified that he was going to score one. So I'm kind of glad that he's out of the Metro. I'm glad he's in the Atlantic. It's a good division for him. It's better to get out of a sort of rebuilding Metro, but like with the Rangers rebuilding, Islanders setting up a new rebuild, Hurricanes kind of gearing up for a little bit of a rebuild, and get into a more competitive Atlantic with the Maple Leafs, Boston, Tampa Bay, and Montreal, just to name a few. But I loved the deal. It kind of, when you said hometown deal, it kind of reminded me of Shattenkirk going home to New York last year with a 4-year deal.
Yeah, it's a great,
So it's good for him. I'm glad. I remember you were going back and forth so many times, and you were saying Tampa. I'm saying, no, he's going to Toronto. He's going to Toronto. Gut feeling, never let it down. I had called it day one since
he hit the
it had
market.
to have been late. Since we knew he might not since we knew he wasn't going to probably re-sign with the Islanders, I said Toronto, no question, hands down.
I'll just be honest. I let my fandom get in the way. I totally agree. It was either the Islanders or Toronto. But now, before we move on Tavares, I just got to ask: Do you put him at center with Matthews and Marner, or would you move him down, or maybe Matthews down, just because that could be a killer line, just like a Stamkos, Kucherov point line? Like, where do you see him fitting in here at Toronto?
Something you can see with that is I remember reading. Like I read a lot of sources from Twitter. That's my news and my hockey news. And I saw a thing, and it said one thing you could do is, I know Tavares is a good right winger because I'm pretty sure he can also play the right wing. And what you could do is you can put Matthews at center, you can put Marner at the left, and you can put Tavares at the right. And then I was reading something, and Kyle Dubas, the new general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, said the big four pieces are not going. No Nylander, no Marner, no Matthews. And I think he's in no Tavares, but that's kind of a no-brainer. So I forget what other player he said, but he said the big four in Toronto are not going anywhere. Because I do remember Rangers fans were optimistic, saying Tavares is there. What are they going to do with Nylander and Marner when they have to sign next year? Because they know Matthews is getting the max deal, and you most likely know Marner's getting the max deal. What are you going to do with Nylander? Because Nylander's also worth a max deal with the way he's playing now at his young age. So thinking of that, it's a interesting look there. And I saw Kyle Dubas saying these four players are not going anywhere. He built off Lou Lamoriello's, in a sense, legacy that he put in Toronto, which is perfect for him.
So we'll go on to the other side, because we know a lot of Long Islanders that live on the island there and part of Brooklyn are very upset with Tavares leaving. Where do you think Lou does from now on? Because he brought in Trotz, and basically we've read things where it said Tavares, even though it was a tough decision, he didn't promise any of these new guys anything. So do you think that played a factor in his decision for not going back to the Islanders, or do you really think the childhood dream just overtook him going back to the Islanders? And part B for this question is, what do you think the Islanders will do now that Tavares is gone?
I don't think signing Luka had a factor with him staying and or going, and the same thing with signing Trotz.
It's a sense of I love Trotz. I love Trotz going to New York. It's better than Jack Capicano. It's better than that assistant coach they had. So I love the idea of Trotz going to New York. He's got a Stanley Cup winning mind. He is a Stanley Cup champion winning coach now. And he also brought in an assistant coach that he had when he won the Stanley Cup. So that's a big good thing for him. But the biggest factor that I think, and I'm pretty sure that we both know, is, and I was talking to an Islanders fan about this, talking to some people who I know that are Islanders fans, Garth Snow and Jack Capicano.
Which I kind of believe, too.
For the past 9 years, it was Tavares playing his heart out for the team that drafted him number 1 overall. He was playing his heart out, and he was doing his hardest to get his team to the playoffs every year and to make him a contender every year. And every year, Garth Snow, I remember Garth Snow would make promises to Tavares, he'd make promises to the Islanders saying, we're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep getting better. And instead of getting better, they kind of got older. Andrew Lee, Johnny Boychuk, just to name 2 players. Then you got 2 dinosaurs in the net with Jaroslav Halak and Thomas Greiss. Thomas Greiss is a little bit younger, but still Halak's kind of a dinosaur of that team. And they didn't get better, they got older. And that's the sense I'm talking, because I think we're going to talk about free agency a little bit later. They got older, not better. Now, this year was a good thing for them, and the past 2 years were a good thing. But with getting Matthew Barzal winning the Calder, winning the Rookie of the Year, and then Josh Hosang having a start killer year, and then I know they got some great rookies: Anthony Beauvillier, Evan Bouchard, Oliver Wahlstrom. Out of that, but you can't look towards the future and say, I want to stay with this team for the next 4 to 5 years when I'm going to be hitting my early 30s, coming to 33, and barely making the playoffs again. I want to go now, and I want to win now. And there's no team I want to help win now than my hometown team.
Agreed. Yeah, so it's just it's going to be a really interesting Atlantic Division because you know where I'm going with this now. I'm freaking out because all these sources, all these news outlets from this past week or so saying that Dallas is in the lead for Carlson, Vegas is in the lead. Now today was really the day where people started saying Tampa is getting Carlson. And again, it's not official, but Sean Sampson, part of the TSN up in Canada, tweeted out a couple minutes ago, my NHL sources tell me Carlson deal with Tampa is done pending a call with the league office. So I want your opinion on Ottawa, Tampa Bay. They definitely need another team in this trade just because, frankly, the Lightning don't only have like $5 million left, and Carlson's cap hit is $6.5 million. And there's been rumors are going around that your favorite team, the New York Rangers, could be that third team where maybe they take back the likes of Ryan Callahan. And he has a partial no-trade clause, which only has 16 teams that he can choose from where he want to go. And I think it'd be clear that he'd want to go back to New York if he got approached by Steve Yzerman that he was part of the trade. I think he'd go back to New York. But I just want your thoughts on this, with Carlson going to Tampa and possibly your team being this third team in this trade, possibly getting Callahan and future draft picks.
Yeah. So with that, thinking that, and you say Erik Karlsson could be going to Tampa.
Yes,
I do remember again.
Pair up with his pirate buddy, Victor Hedman.
I do remember us arguing about late June, early July, and I remember how you said the dream is John Tavares is coming in free agency and Erik Karlsson coming in a trade. And I said to you, and I said this all the time, being not because I want to make you feel bad or I want to crap on your team, but I didn't think they were going to get him because the cap space was too much. Now you have Steven Stamkos, who's at his max cap hit, who's at like the 8-year max. Kucherov next year is going to have a guaranteed 8-year max. Hedman, I think, is at his 8. Hedman's at his 8-year max, correct?
Hedman actually has a 7.
7.
And looking at his contract now, it's a bargain with what Doughty got and then what Carlson's going to get. It's a bargain.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Point in the future, he's most likely going to get a 6, 7, maybe even 8-year contract. Sergachev is possibly going to get a 7, 8-year contract. They just signed Ryan McDonough to a 7-year contract. JT Miller to a 5-year contract. So with the money they're throwing away at these players, I didn't think that they weren't going to have the money to clear space for John Tavares, because I knew he wasn't going there. And I didn't think Carlson was going to go there. I thought Carlson for sure was going to Vegas. Then seeing that and hearing there could be a possible 3-team trade, Ryan Callahan could be coming back to the New York Rangers. I honestly have no words for that. When I first became a Ranger fan, when you first find your favorite team, you always want to find someone that you're going to love on that team. The first, I bet you had a favorite player when you started watching hockey.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started watching the Rangers, the first person I always loved was Ryan Callahan. My first ever favorite player was Ryan Callahan. He had the heart of New York. He had the grit of any player. He could skate with the best of them. He can fight with the best of them, hit with the best of them, and he can still score with the best of them. He's getting up there in age, but I would not mind having Ryan Callahan back if we get a good piece in Tampa Bay, i.e. a cow food. That's just, again, pipe dream, but if they're going to try and get Erik Karlsson, some pieces have got to go.
So I know it's very early, obviously, but just say the deal is official, just say, and Karlsson ends up in Tampa Bay. Pretty much you can say Tampa Bay's offseason's done. So I know, again, like I said, it's early, but Toronto, Tampa, who has the edge in your opinion? And you don't, in a way, you don't even have to give an answer because it's so early, but just pick a team. Which one would you pick?
So if the Erik Karlsson deal gets done, and these are the two teams we're looking at currently right now going into the start of October, my edge goes to Tampa Bay.
Sweet.
Now, it's not because I'm with you. I'm not going on that bandwagon of Erik Karlsson and Victor Hedman are the 1-2 punch duo that's going to win Tampa the Stanley Cup. The reason I think Tampa has the edge is because their defense is a lockdown defense. John Cooper has turned that defense into something amazing. You got to hand it to the guy. He's turned that defense into an amazing defense. And next year, if the Erik Karlsson deal gets done and he goes to Tampa Bay, you can see a pairing of Erik Karlsson with Victor Hedman, Mikhail Sergachev with Ryan McDonough, and then if Girardi stays, Dan Girardi, Anton Stralman.
Yeah.
That, to me, is scary. Victor Hedman is a good offensive defenseman, and so is Victor Hedman can switch from offensive defenseman to two-way defender in a second. Erik Karlsson is a known offensive defenseman, so that's just good with him. You got Sergachev, who's growing in and out of, again, a two-way defender / offensive defenseman, and then you got McDonough, who's been a known lockdown two-way defender. Dan Girardi is a known hitter who wants to hit and who wants to block shots. Perfect for defensive defenseman. Any team needs a good lockdown defender, big defender. And Stralman turns out of everything from defensive to two-way to offensive. So that's the reason I think Tampa has the advantage of their defense. In a sense, if everyone on Tampa stays healthy, I'm looking at Steven Stamkos on this one. They could be the favorites to win the cup if the Erik Karlsson deal gets done. But I can just imagine a conference semifinal, Game 7, double overtime, Toronto, Tampa right now.
That'd be great. I'd be nervous, but it'd be great.
That'd be like the series to watch if that ever happened.
It would be. It would. So I know we've been talking about the Lightning, so let's switch to your team quickly. Your team's in a rebuild, which probably they haven't had one in a couple of years now, basically. They had a horrible year. They fired their head coach. They bring in David Quinn out of BU. So,
Yep.
Your thoughts on the Rangers rebuild, how long it could possibly take, and what mini moves do you see them making? Because we know they're not going to try to get into long-term deals here.
Well, I found out some news today. So, if you do remember a while ago that Anthony Duclair was drafted by the New York Rangers.
Yes, I do remember that.
And then, in a deal that I didn't like a lot, was traded to Arizona for Keith Yandel. And then this season, he was traded to Chicago for, I think, Richard Panik.
Yes.
Panik. And Chicago didn't qualify him for UFA, didn't try to protect him. He just signed a 1-year deal with Columbus. And the Rangers should have been a team that was in on Anthony Duclair. He's a great player. I liked him when he was there. I haven't seen him play in a while since he was traded out, but I liked what I saw when he played. But if we're talking about the rebuild now, you always gotta look at one person on a team. The one person that always comes to my mind is Henrik Lundqvist. He's like the father of every player in New York in a sense. Every rookie there, they're going to go to him. He's probably the longest tenured Ranger there. I think he is the longest tenured Ranger there. He is a great goaltender. He obviously doesn't know stuff about offensive, like scoring and playing defense. He knows about how locking down. But they're going to go to him for advice, like of what to do when they get to the big city, what to do when they play under these big lights in New York, what to do when they're under pressure. He's going what I can imagine he's going to tell him is to relax and enjoy it, but to play your heart out. And I do remember reading something again. Lundqvist, the Rangers told Lundqvist you could be traded at the trade deadline, and he said, "Nope, I want to stay here and I want to help with anything I can." That's dedication to a team. You knew this team was going through a rebuild. You're 30. I want to say 35.
Of your career.
On the back part of your career, 35 years of age, and he has a chance to leave and possibly go win a Stanley Cup, which he 100% deserves. And he chooses to stay with the team that drafted him because he wants to help them win a cup. That's dedication to your home. That's the dedication to your team. That makes me happy to be a New York Ranger fan and be happy to have him as my goaltender. And now talking about the rebuild, I love David Quinn coming in. I love him coming in. When you look at Alain Vigneault, when he was the coach of the Rangers, he had an awful, awful time developing the rookies. He would always try to get big, burly veterans, and i.e. of Cody McLeod when they picked him up, when they could have picked up Yager. They picked up Cody McLeod, and they were playing Cody McLeod minutes. They're giving Cody McLeod more minutes than Lias Anderson when Anderson and Hedl came up. That's wrong. You want to get Anderson and Hedl as much time as you can, and it's the end of the season, and you know you're not making the cup. But he wants to, when he knows he's not making the playoffs, And instead you're putting Cody McLeod. That's wrong on Ellen's part. Now, David Quinn's going to come into New York. He's going to switch things up. You got guys like just this year, you got guys like Ty Ronning, Lias Anderson, Philip Hedl, possibly Brett Howden, possibly LeBor Hadjic, possibly Ryan Lindgren, guys the Rangers got from trades with Boston and Tampa Bay. I'm trying to think of another player. I'm guaranteed Alexander Georgiev is going to be the backup for the Rangers. Neil Pionk's going to come back up, possibly Vince Petrie if the defense doesn't go through, but I don't think we need Petrie as of right now if Hadjic and Lindgren both come up. And then the future is bright. Vitaly Kravtsov, the Rangers' 9th overall pick, which I was mad at first when I thought they should have taken Wallstrom.
Which I told you. I told you. I think this kid's going to be great. I really do.
Looking at Kravtsov now, he's dangerous. I was reading a thing. It was the top 50 players of, like, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter.
I did. I saw this,
50,
yeah.
And he was number 2 under Rasmus Dahlin. Oliver Wallstrom wasn't even on that list. And I do remember the Rangers fans saying the exact same thing last year about these guys. Who's Lias Anderson? Who's Filipino? Why would the Rangers draft him over Timothy Liljegren or Cal Foot? Why would the Rangers do this to us? Why are they picking these nobodies over guys who are known to be who are going to be stars in the NHL like Cal Foot or Timothy Liljegren? And now that you look at the Rangers fans now, they are in love with Lias Anderson. They are in love with Filipino because they saw them play and get better. That's going to be a crack dog. And another player who Rangers fans loved, and he got a comparison to Dustin Byfuglien, is Keandre Miller, a player out of the U.S. Development National Team who is committed to Wisconsin. He's big, he's burly, and he can hit, but he's like one of those switch around defenders like a Victor Hedman who can play everything. Like the big Dustin Byfuglien who can play everything. He's good like that, and I love the pick of that one. And the last pick of that first round this year was another defenseman from Sweden, Nils Lindqvist, who I haven't seen play and I haven't really heard much about. But what I heard, a great hockey IQ, and that's what you need. You don't need guys who can. You do need guys who can score, but if you got someone like Tyrone, who I'll get to in a second, and he plays the way he did, then you need someone like with a high hockey IQ like Nils Lindqvist. And that I love the Rangers' first round selections after reading about more of Vitaly Kravtsov. Loved the selections. And then Tyrone, he broke the WHL scoring record of everything. It was, if I'm not mistaken, I should probably look this up so I don't get this wrong. He was, this is his rookie year, I'm pretty sure, in Vancouver. He played for the Vancouver Giants of the WHL. He was, it wasn't like a big, it wasn't like a big passing. He was picked 7th overall. He's not 7th overall, 7th round overall by the Rangers. 201st overall, 7th round. He played for the Vancouver Giants this past year. 70 games played. He scored 61 goals with 23 assists and 84 points to break the goal score record of all of WHL since, if I'm again not mistaken, Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
I know I was telling you this. I was following this throughout the school year, and I love this way this kid plays. And again, reading at this, he's only 5'9", weighing in at 172 pounds, which is considered to be small for a player. And I'm not saying this is the next thing of Marty St. Louis, because no one can play at the level Marty St. Louis did when he played in his career. But this is the exact same story. Teams are passing over him because they look at his size and the way he's looking at his size and his weight. They're not looking at the way he plays. They're not looking at his numbers from years that passed. And I think a lot of teams currently are kind of shooting themselves in the foot over the fact that they didn't take Tyrone that in that draft year.
So, again, we're joined here by Caden Boleyn, our NHL insider here at Upstate Sports Zone. He's joining us, episode 4 of The Zone. So, again, before I ask you your final question here tonight, everyone's messing with me. A lot of insiders are saying, again, back to Carlson, no confirmation on the report out of Ottawa that a deal is done, pending a trade call and while senses this might be getting close, it sounds like it's not to that point yet. So everyone's messing with my emotions, and I'm not liking it. So, By the way, before I ask you your final question, if anyone needs to know anything about Rangers hockey, hit up Caden on Twitter. He knows everything about the Rangers, from the players that are up here now to the players in the farm. So if you need any questions, just follow him on Twitter at Caden Boleyn and on Instagram. He'll give you any answer that you need for the Rangers. So finally, to wrap up, your favorite signings on July 1st and one signing that kind of made you scratch your head.
So I have my Rangers. Rangers only made one signing, and I love the signing they made. But I'm my favorite. The Rangers signed Frederick Claeston, a defenseman from Ottawa, who plays great on the blue line. But I think my favorite signing of this offseason as of right now, without picking Tavares, has to be Paul Stastny going to Vegas.
Which everyone thought he was Winnipeg bound.
And myself included. It's a sense of, if you can't beat them, join them. Vegas played Winnipeg in the Western Conference Final when Vegas just edged them out in Game 6, if I'm not mistaken. They just edged them out. So Paul Stastny decided to take a little bit of a pay cut, and he decided to join Vegas. That's a great deal right there. It's a fantastic deal. But one that made me scratch my head, there were two on the board. One that I loved but I hated with the money is James Neal to Calgary. I thought, again, he was Vegas bound. I thought he was, when he made it to the Cup final 2 years in a row, once with Nashville, once with Vegas, you kind of thought, man, Vegas is so close to winning the Cup. He's going right back to Vegas to pick off where he last started. And he kind of swerved everybody and goes to Calgary. That swerved me big time, but looking at it, it was a 5-year, a lot of money on that contract. Too much, if you ask me, a little bit too much on his deal. And the other one that I hated completely, not because I wanted him or not, was Leo Komarov going to the Islanders. Again, he's 30 years old, and they're doing almost the exact same thing Garth Snow did, giving him a 4-year deal worth $3.75 almost annually. That's too much.
Yeah, it honestly is. And for the James
he's
Neal,
a great player.
It was $5.75 million. That's the annually for him. So that's big. That's big for a player.
That's
not
that's
getting any
too
younger.
much for him.
That's not getting any younger. So
no, I would love to be an NHL GM, but if I had any choice to give him any money, at most 3 years for $3.75 would be a perfect deal for James Neal. But Calgary going a little overboard there for 5 years. And the Komarov deal, I just dislike completely. I love the way I like Komarov, how he plays. And I'm not just saying that because he's going to the Islanders. I hate the deal because it's kind of what Garth Snow did. He signed these old players to big deals, and it comes to bite them in the butt in the future.
Pretty much. Caden, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Zone episode 4. Thank you for calling in. Love talking hockey with you. Hopefully it'll come on soon when Carl sends a bolt.
Caden, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, this is episode 4 of The Zone. We'll come back with our final thoughts here on The Zone, episode 4. We'll be right back.
This is Jared McCabe, and you are listening to The Zone, a part of the Upstate Sports Zone Network, free for download on iTunes. Now back to the show.
Oh my God. That one's a hard one to come back from. Episode 4 of The Zone. I'm Jake Martino, joined by
Gotta love Caden.
Jared McCabe.
Behind recording, talking to him. He really gives the inside scoop of around the NHL. Him and I love talking hockey. We both love it. So
The kid cracks me up.
yeah,
He always has got something funny to say. He cracks me up, boys. So we'll wrap up briefly. We'll go back to Kaleb and Cam, and we'll talk a little MLB. Just my standpoint, really quick.
Ohtani. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you have to say about this.
Ohtani's back from injury. Too soon or no? See, I can relate to this myself because in November I had elbow surgery too. What they did with Ohtani was very minor. They never surgically operated on him, which if they did, it would have been a month because you have to wait for the scar to heal and whatnot. I think if they assume that the role of DH is very light and it's not going to affect him, then go right for it. I mean, it's not our decision to say, oh, is it too soon or not. It's more of their decision. Relating it back to me, the thing with me is that I had a pin, and it really restricted my motion. And the only thing that his injury is doing is restricting him from throwing. If he feels comfortable enough to hit, then that's his call. I mean, if the motion's there and he's got the strength, I think it's the way the Angels are playing right now. I think somebody needed to put them back on track. I think Ohtani is going to do that for him.
My thoughts looking because I don't really follow the Angels because they play at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock. But my just only concern about it is not Ohtani, it's about Pujols.
Because now he's
in the back nine. We've been saying this a lot in this podcast with a lot of these players. He's on the back nine of his career as well. Again, he's been having a great season, don't get me wrong, but having him at first base takes up, like Ohtani taking up the DH spot when you think Pujols could take a day there. That's just the only thing that concerns me, just because even though the Angels are kind of out of their division right now, possibly wild card as well, you still want Albert to get his at-bats, and giving him a half day off at the DH spot could help him. But again, Ohtani's your future, so you got to make sure that he's okay.
Yeah, you want to make sure he's okay, because they were saying, he's going to be out till about 2020 or something like that. So it's interesting to see that he's back playing DH. But actually, we'll go into what we were going to talk about. We were going to talk about Manny Machado, and with the trade deadline approaching very soon, it's interesting to see what the Orioles are going to do and if they're going to deal him or not, which I'm sure they will.
They have to if they want to get their organization built for the future, because he's not coming back next year. He's just not.
No, and I think if you do, you're going to trade him now, and you're going to get assets for him to build that farm system.
Which they have a horrible one.
So we have on the list, we have Atlanta, Arizona, Cubs, Dodgers.
Just an interesting 518 story that with our local area. I've read a thing. I think it wasn't Buster Only or Ken Rosenthal, but it was one of them, and one of those top big names in the industry with knowing that. And they said the Orioles would ask for Ian Anderson, part of a deal with the Braves, the kid out of Shen, and the Braves have high hopes for this kid. He said no. They would not deal him for Machado.
And he's not even playing single A. He's playing like real farm league baseball in Florida.
That's saying something. So for a little story for all of us around here, that's pretty big that they will not give him for probably one of the top 10, top 5 best players in baseball. So, but a team on there to watch, I really think Arizona, if they really want to go for it. But do they have the players?
They're a make-or-break team, and I think Machado could be the X factor, as you like to say.
If this is I think it's obvious. I think if the one team that's going to get him is probably the Dodgers, because they still have a farm system, but it's not the greatest because they dealt everyone else for you, Darvish and
mistake.
All these other players. I can't even
mistake. All mistakes.
But because Machado,
honestly,
he's a rental, so you got to be careful what you're going to give him.
Honestly, I think he could fit. Really, well, any of those teams that you listed.
If he's willing to play third base for some team.
I think Atlanta could easily do it, but if you're saying now Ian Anderson, I think he could fit in the culture of Atlanta. Right now it's a winning culture. I think wherever he goes, he needs a winning culture, because right now Baltimore has the worst record and one of the worst records in baseball.
Into NBA, can you give him that? Hopefully you can give him that deal.
The max deal.
And then lead them into a winning, like a Braves winning culture, saying I can win here.
I think he definitely goes nationally because I don't think the Orioles are going to be so willing to give him to an American League team.
Yeah.
And I think he needs a change of scenery. I mean, he's came up through the system with the Orioles. Cubs would be really cool too.
The only thing, though, would you trade Addison Russell? Because
No, because then
the whole glout. And I'm a big Javi Baez guy. I'm not giving him up.
No.
I love Javi Baez, so I wouldn't give him. I'd give up Addison Russell, I think, though. But you have to make sure that you re-sign Machado because Addison Russell is a very good player. He's not at the level of Machado, but
Machado's having a pretty good year. So
for a team that's a
really bad, yeah. So I wouldn't sleep on a trade happening. But do you think a trade's definitely happening?
Oh, it's definitely gonna. If they'd be dumb if they did not trade to cash in now, because if they don't, then that sets their organization back 5 to 10 years.
You heard it here first. Episode 4 of The Zone.
Great callers.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Great guests. Always looking for more new people to come on and call in. Again, it's been a great summer. It's going to continue to be great because we still got some guys on each boards, NHL and NBA, so should be very fun. And then baseball, trade deadline, Manny Machado, things that we talked about today. So
yeah, it was great.
Exciting.
It was great. We had a lot of good guests. So this wraps up episode 4. This episode's free for download on iTunes, and check out all of our other episodes and follow our Twitter, Upstate Sports, and find us on social media and on Twitter at JRod2430 and at JacobUpstate. We appreciate you tuning in. This is episode 4 of The Zone.
we out.